So let's get into some theory, shall we? The transactional model of communication, it describes the core process of all communication. It's something that probably put this into memory because it might be handy for the exam. Essentially, how it works, the sender, our red guy over here, the sender interprets their ideas, encodes the idea into a message, and sends it to the receiver. So, what I'm doing right now. The message. The message might be, hey, listen, it might be talking about the transactional model of communication. It might be how my day is. It might be about Kate Miller-Heidke. Who knows what it is? The idea and feeling is transmitted verbally, non-verbally, written, electronically, doesn't matter. The channel. How do we communicate the message? Is it in conversation? Is it via email? Is it via a video? Is it written down? Is it through a tweet? It doesn't matter. What is the channel that's being sent? The receiver, our blue guy here, he decodes the message. He interprets it based on their own mental models, so the way in which they see the world, the way in which they construct the world, their mood that they're in, and then they respond back, so that feedback loop. So what might happen and affect our message? Well, first of all, there's noise. So anything that might interrupt the message or communication flow. So anything from loud noises in the background, trains to trams, going through a tunnel. It might be bad reception. It might be routed through a particular server and it comes out on the other side terribly. It creates a communication barrier, and through that, it creates a misunderstanding or a misinterpretation of the message. That's the big key to remember there. In terms of the context, so circumstances and events that encompass communication, so it might be place, society, history at that time. The way in which you use different words across different countries might have different effects. I want you to think about different words that might be said in Australia and different words that might be said in America that might be the same word but mean completely different things. You were thinking of faucet and tap, weren't you? So have a think about how that sort of context, the way in which it's said, the political climate it's said in, how it's said, how the message is delivered, anything around that. Get the transactional process, the transactional model of communication down because it will be important going forward. Effective communication is everything in business. If you can't communicate your ideas, that's it, you're finished. No organisational goals are achieved without communication. Whenever I'm working on a particular project, whenever I'm consulting with an organisation, communication is generally what it all comes down to. How are we communicating the message to our staff? How are we communicating the message to our stakeholders? How are we communicating to our customers? If we're able to do that, usually we're able to achieve our goals. Organisations rely on information to make decisions and initiate actions. These need to be communicated. So numbers are numbers. Unless there is communication around that, so being able to look at the Excel spreadsheet, look at the graphs and say, what this means is that in quarter 4, we increased our prices. That's why our revenue's gone up. But we're not going to be able to do that again in quarter 1 with a new player entering the market. Being able to communicate those ideas, it helps initiate action. Poor internal or external communication can quickly damage the company's bottom line. Just think about all those times that you see companies out there communicating a particular message and they step in it. They make a mistake in what they're saying. They communicate the wrong idea or the wrong message and they have to backtrack. Think about the impact that has. And communication is all about relationships. Ineffective communication can undermine efficiency and a really good working relationship. You need to be actively communicating with your team. You need to be actively communicating with your manager, with those below you, those around you. Being able to build those relationships, being able to have open communication is going to have such an important impact on your career, regardless if it's in business, government, non-for-profit, education, doesn't matter. Communication is key.